All right, everyone. Well, welcome. Hope everyone had a great Christmas, if you celebrate, that is. Hope you're having a great end of the year here. Excited for 2021. We're going to wrap up our year of content tonight with the final few steps of our 9-step process for successful goal keeping. So this comes right out of the New Year Revolution course. You can find that on the member site. You can go through, we've covered most of that content this month, and you'll find the 9 steps there as well. You'll find the PDF if you want to go download these slides and follow this on your own time. So last time we did our first 5 steps. We got clear, did a great review, and a CANI, or constant and never-ending improvement process for 2020. Really looking at what went great, what went not so great, what challenged you, what lessons you got. Step 2 was get certain, really remembering times that you've been challenged before, how you overcame those challenges, what you did, what were the steps, what were the thoughts, everything, getting certainty on your ability to overcome any obstacles that present themselves. And step 3 was get excited. So we're activating again our emotional intensity, that 4-year-old excitement and passion and drive to fuse some great emotion into our goals and outcomes for the new year. Step 4 was get focused. So this was your homework, writing down part of get excited was writing down everything that you want, no matter what timeline it is, from 1 year to 20 years, everything that you want. And then step 4 was circling the top 5 that you want to do this year. And step 5 was writing down your why. So getting committed. What's the why that's going to drive the plan, going to drive the how are you going to get this. So if anyone wants to share that, would love to hear theirs in the Q&A section after the content here. But that was your homework. Make sure you get that done. If you haven't done it, that's the very first big important step out of these 9 things here. So step 6, getting momentum. You're going to pick 3 things that you can take action on over the next 24 hours. So you're going to look at the 5 things that you've circled that you want to do this year and pick 3 things that you can do for one of those 5 things, any of those 5 things, just some action. One has to be ginormous, or a BHAG, as you might have heard before, big, hairy, audacious goal. One has to be tonight, so right when you get off of this call here. And then the other 2 are going to be in the next 24 hours. So again, 3 things, 1 BHAG, 1 that you can do tonight, and the other 2 in the next 24 hours. So that BHAG could be the one thing you're going to do tonight. It can be one of the other 2 that you're going to do in the 24 hours. That's really going to get you the momentum heading into the new year. And who wants to finish strong this year with action, action-oriented mindset, feeling great that you're already getting great progress towards your 2021 outcomes. Step 7, get smart. And you'll see this is written as the acronym. So if you haven't gotten this tool yet, under the member site, look up goals versus outcomes. It's one of the top videos that we cover right when you come into the program. It's one that you really want to know. It's these 5 steps: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. These are elements that you want to add for your list of goals that you've created. So the 5 things or 10 things, whatever you created in the first 5 steps, you're going to apply SMART aspects to each one of these. And for those of you that know this tool already, the difference between a goal and an outcome is difference between a goal and an outcome. Goals are in the future, outcomes are in the past. So when you really watch this video, and it's going to give you some more context around that, how do I make something, in the past, if it's something that I'm creating as a goal? Well, that's where our I have a dream speech comes into play. You're talking about, you're emotionalizing, you're taking this future you and bringing it to today, having already completed the task, feeling the sense of fulfillment, feeling the joy, the excitement, feeling the satisfaction, whatever emotion that goes into this. When you put the emotion in your body that you would have when this is a reality, that's what's going to engage these emotions, this neurochemistry, this fuel that's going to be driving this great plan that you're putting together. So again, that's a longer tool. It's about 15 or so minutes. If you haven't seen that one, definitely watch that in the next couple of days. It'll help you even more in applying these SMART aspects and creating the software of this is who I have to be in 2021. So that's getting... Yeah.
So, basically, I have a dream. It's I have a goal that would be substituted in that. Is that something? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I have an outcome, yes. So when you begin...
The dream really is the outcome. Okay. I have an outcome. What's synonymous with a dream in the I had speech? Goal or outcome?
Outcome. Okay. So one of the important distinctions in this tool, so not only are you going to apply all the SMART aspects to this, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time-based, which again, the video will give you some examples of what that looks like. Thinking about your, let's say, a health goal, for instance, instead of, I want to lose some weight this year, it's, I want to be, if you're putting in a towards pattern, 170 pounds by, June 1st. It's specific, you can measure it, there's time-based, right? These two, realistic is probably the most challenging one because, here in the Inevitable You, we use hyperbole words, we talk about legendary, epic. It should almost be, unrealistic if you're really engaging greatest version of software. That's a conversation for another time, or someone can ask me a question or a guidance on that. But these 5 steps done in a outcome mindset versus a goal mindset, that this is how I think when it's done, this is how I feel, this is who I am, I'm going to be this man, woman today, instead of it's not now, it's in the future, it's something that you're not embodying that software. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I just had never thought that the dream was the outcome. But you're right. I have an outcome that I will be 180 pounds or whatever.
Yeah, and the I have a dream, where your number one rule, the I have a dream, Christian, do you remember?
Well, you got to put EQ in it, but I'm not sure that's the number one.
Yes, EQ, or as we said in step 5, when you're going to tell somebody your why, it's got to give you goosebumps. It's got to give you those goosebumps. The hair has to stand on your, your arms, the back of your neck. It's got to ignite, engage a certain, chemical component to, or you're not really getting the full power of it.
You're absolutely right. It's the goosebumpicity.
The goosebumpicity. That's right. That is a Christian. That is a Christian invented term there that we use now.
I like it, but I forget about it a lot. The question is how to remember goosebumps. Just write it on the mirror or something like that. It's not usually in my vocabulary. It used to be the word goosebump.
Yeah, so...
Do you use goosebump much?
What's that?
I was asking Tim if he used the word goosebump often.
It's not in my regular vocabulary, but I think I understand in the context that we're talking about, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so remember, it's this 4-year-old you remembering what was maybe lost or programmed out of you, this excitement. Getting excited about the new year versus how most are planning and setting goals. Most don't do it in the first place because, look, I failed in the past, so what's the point? Or, I've got a plan for contingencies. I'm planning with anxiety. Well, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And, I tried that. That doesn't work. And it's more on the half-empty side of the emotional scale versus the half-full, positive, goosebumpy side. Got it?
That always reminds me of that girl, that YouTube video of that little girl in the bathroom sink.
Yeah.
An affirmation.
That was cool.
That's right. Yeah.
Especially when you saying put it on the mirror.
What?
I mean, it's so true. I definitely suffer from that. I keep it in front of me more often and not in my daily vocabulary.
Jessica's affirmations. There it is.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
We'll see if I can play this here.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Now my whole house is great.
That doesn't work. But she's like, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. I'm incredible. I'm the best. I'm super. And she's just listing all these affirmations that look at her. I mean, she's having the time of her life. I mean, who does this?
Oh, this is the epitome of get excited.
That's right. Stand on the sink. Maybe that's what I'm missing. I gotta stand on the sink.
There you go.
Makes all the difference.
Or, you see I have listed here, Haka. Who's seen a video of a Haka dance they do in New Zealand? When they're smacking, they're like, and they're their opponents look at them like, oh crap, we're screwed here. Like, this is in our DNA. This is, all 4-year-olds know how to do this. We've just been told, hey, tone it down, color within the lines. Don't do that. Don't get too excited. You'll get disappointed. But that's the energy, the essence needed to continue feeling great about, even can you feel great about a failure along the way towards one of your 2021 goals? Because it's, that's where Phoenix screwed up the order and, I look at these lessons, look at all these gifts that I got from even 2020 when you're reviewing. What lessons and gifts? Who's talking about lessons and gifts from 2020 versus, what a terrible year? And did I hear someone?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry.
Oh.
I didn't realize my speaker was on.
Oh, no problem. Did you have something?
I do sometimes talk to to the screen, but I try not to when the speaker is on. Well, I have the speaker on because I was going to say, Brian, could you demonstrate that haka one more time?
I'm not a trained professional, but yeah, you know.
I guess the silver lining for 2020 is to, in fact, try to look at all of the various lessons learned, you know, and the blessings despite the year it's been.
Yes, yeah, it's very important to keep in mind. In during step one, when you're reviewing the year, you know, leaders see things as they are, not worse, not better. That you're conscious about what you're creating emotionally. You know, are you creating more frustration and, you know, could be maybe sadness, maybe just apathy versus, you know, excitement and gratitude, you know, for maybe things that at first seemed or are still very challenging, but are, you know, creating character, creating strength, created something maybe that hasn't been looked at as, you know, with the quantum glass, the half full side hasn't been emotionalized yet. So keep in mind that as you do this, you know, there's this quantum glass, there's always both sides. You just have to be conscious of it. You just have to see it.
I sometimes think about one of Susie Orman's lessons to people who lost a lot of money in past market downturns. And of course, you know, we're very upset and depressed about having lost X amount of money. And she always said how important it is to focus on what you have versus what you lost. And it seems to me this year has been a master's class in doing that kind of attitude. But not who you can't see, who's still around that you can see. You know, not who you've lost, but who is still healthy and present. You know, just there's so much we as individuals have very little control over. So rather than really letting that be chains that drag you down, focus on the what as an individual we can contribute to or can change, whether it's in our life or our tiny community or a circle of friends or a contribution to something bigger. It's been that kind of a that's why I said I am without realizing my speaker was on.
Yeah, excellent points. So again, with Get Smart, not only is this just your, you know, standard goal setting, you know, business 101 tool, when you do this with emotion, when you do this as outcomes, you do an I have a dream speech, adds a whole other, you know, layer, a component to this that most don't tap into in doing this kind of exercise. Step 8, get organized. So there's another one that you can reference on the member site. Remember, this is also on that PDF that you can download with the 9 steps. This is also a standalone tool that you can search called the Plan Execute Analysis Tool. So there's 2 axes, 0 and 0 on these ends, and 10 up here. Basically, it's a chart. It's where do you fall within these quadrants. You know, you've heard the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. You know, if you look down here, poor plan, right? Poor execution, you get nothing. It's, you know, you probably get 0 results if you're, you know, out of 0 on both of these. On the opposite end, you know, great plan, great execution, you get everything. And, you know, here's where it gets interesting on these 2 quadrants. poor plan but high execution, or good execution, you'll still get something, right? Maybe even above average results. And great plan, great list, great organization, but poor execution doesn't get you much. So where are you falling in these quadrants? Is it a great plan mixed with poor execution? Well, now we have to figure out why is that? What in the software is preventing action? And we talked about in our goal-keeping psychology some of the common things that trip up this action-oriented software. Could be fears rising, so you're pumping the brakes, for instance. So it gives you more consciousness as to what's going on, what's happening with my results. Why am I not getting the results that I intended? Obviously, if you're falling up here, well, I need a better plan. I need to put more smart components to this. So, pretty straightforward tool. And then lastly, we're going to get conscious and real. And so we've talked about these 3 steps: decide, commit, and integrate, with increasing power, increasing psychological, power for how you're creating results. Decide, you're going to cut off all options. Committing, you're adding resources now. And integration, you become this man, this woman. You become, in the marriage metaphor, you're going to propose. You're going to have the wedding, and then afterwards you're now living, as a married couple. That's the integration part of this. And so keep in mind these 9 verbs up here. Again, another tool, one of the main ones that you want to know. I know I'm throwing a lot of tools out here, but I want you to be aware of these as you go through the PDF, go through these 9 steps, on your own. But 9 verbs, you're seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing, thinking. You're really putting the emotion in your body, and action is the final verb here. So this is the integration piece of this. When you sit down and do your journaling and think about, and if you guys haven't seen the Part 1 standard questions that I make available to all clients, and if you don't have that, let me know. I'm happy to forward it to you. But this 7 questions: what's going well? Why isn't it going well? What old beliefs were too powerful to overcome? And in those steps, you really want to be aware of the 9 verbs. So why is it going well? What are you thinking and feeling? What do you know? What are you believing? What are you focusing on? Same applies for why isn't it going well? Well, are you thinking about, what can't happen? Are you focusing on what could go wrong? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling stressed? So tapping into all sensory modalities, it's not just the 5 senses, but you look at think, believe, focus on, and what are you putting in your body, and what actions or inactions, lack of actions, is it creating? It's a heightened level of consciousness and awareness as to what's going on inside of you and your software, and why it's creating the results it's creating. To help with this integration piece of this. So, those are the 9 steps. I know I went through them pretty quickly, but I want to stress again, you have this available to you to do on your time. I want you to spend great time on it. With now a couple of days left in 2020, I just told Christian at the beginning of the call here, I blocked off all of Thursday to complete mine. and spend just some really deep thought and time with this heading into the new year.